Yo, welcome back to Not Another Gaming Podcast. It is your boy, your player partner, Papa Don. We're here live and direct, fresh off the plane, still smelling like vacation. It's been a long weekend. It's been a long week. I think we're all in terrible condition. But we made it through PAX East. No coronavirus yet.
That we know of.
That we know of yet. That we know of. It takes like 2 weeks to manifest.
I wouldn't speak too soon.
But we'll see. We'll see. And of course,
you guys missed it. I was licking doorknobs and door handles.
Yeah.
And like, you know how the staff at PAX was like disinfecting all the escalator handrails? I was just reinfecting them with my tongue.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
That's nice of you. That's real nice of you.
And that, of course, speaking there is my co-host. You might find him on Tuesdays, streaming right here for Booze Days with Dr. Bob, or catch him predicting major industry moves before the movers even think of making the moves. Mr. Dr. Bob, how you doing?
It's crazy, dude. I'm 8 steps ahead of everybody in the industry right now. It's crazy. These companies don't even know what their fucking next move is, and I'm willing it into existence. I know what's going to happen.
That's right. You know.
That's happening. When I go to sleep, I get fucking Amazon tapping into my brainwaves, and they're disseminating my information to these major corporations. Just fucking pay me. That's
it's like in Batman Forever when they have like the people set up with the little TV sets and their brainwaves are going like this.
Yeah. It's like Inception. They're all fucking diving into my skull when I'm trying to dream. And they're selling my content to these companies. Just pay me.
That's true.
I'll be your consultant. It's fine.
Wait, what was that word you just used? Disseminating?
Disseminating.
What does that mean?
Disseminating. To take something and then spread it out amongst others.
Oh, okay.
What did you think?
Write that one down. I don't know. I thought it was like dissymmetry.
That's also my job title.
Good.
I thought you were talking about your job for a second.
No.
Of course, that brilliant little bulb right there that you hear talking is my other co-host, the man who is keeping us up to date on all esports and gaming news that you care about, and even some that you don't. He strikes fear into gaming desks everywhere, my man, Chris P. How are you?
What up, dog? See, I'm learning vocab on Not Another Gaming Podcast. It's incredible. Who says that you don't learn?
Podcast.
It really is. I mean, if I've ever heard an educational podcast, it's this one. I mean, I just learned, what was it, dissemetry? I learned what dissemetry was.
Disseminating. Chris, if you want, we can create some more content for our YouTube, and I could just run through a bunch of SAT words for you and explain them.
Dude, I mean, I'm not the brightest bulb. I'll say that. I mean, I'm smart in my own ways, but when it comes to vocab, my lord, do I know shit.
All new segment, explain it to Chris.
Yeah, please explain it to Chris, like vocab for dummies.
Wait, you mean the first 160 episodes of explaining a video game to Chris?
Love it. Bob, I don't know. We were talking about the carnivorous virus, as King Dave would say. I mean, yeah, you might. I mean, but I'm thinking about, because you have to be quarantined, right? If you have coronavirus,
I fucking hope so.
It doesn't sound too bad. I mean, be quarantined in your room. I don't have to leave, and I have excuse to not leave my house.
Okay, first of all, I don't have a fever. I just have a cough. Okay. Fasted yesterday. I had a little head cold. It's starting to go away. I'm good. I don't have a fucking fever. I'm good. I'm coughing all over the place though. Be wary.
Great.
It has to start somewhere. You got to walk before you can run. But I'm doing well. I finally got over the whole being run down at PAX, which I went against my own rules. I got way too drunk one night and couldn't make it the rest of the weekend. But lack of water, lack of thinking. I mean, it happens. But I'm excited to be back. Episode 170 with the boys.
Love it. Love it. Love it. And before we get into the whole PAX recap, I know that obviously our weekend was PAX, but we are going to do a little weekend recap.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
All the same. And, talk about how our weekends went. And then we can just roll that. Once all three of us go around, we can just, roll that right into our PAX East 2020 rundown. Chris, why don't you lead us off?
It was a blast. I mean, I feel like a broken record talking about it, because I always say it's an uphill battle, but it actually is. It gets tiring as hell. I think I tore my ACL 30 minutes into the convention. Wasn't good. Couldn't walk. It was behind my knees. It felt like something was pulling every step I took. It wasn't good, but I mean, where there's media, we got to get the job done. So we're bombing around, doing our thing. It was super fun. I mean, the parties that we went to, Bethesda Game Day is always a blast. Get to see Romeo Langford and Marcus Smart playing Doom Eternal was one of the highlights of my weekend. That was so fucking funny to watch.
Yep.
And that game was fun as hell. I mean, when we got to demo it, I was completely in a trance playing that game. Like the soundtrack was dope. Like the whole game looked beautiful. Really enjoyed that. And then of course we had the Predator Acer after party, which I mean I could have sworn Spielberg walked in.
I mean
that was a movie.
There was a film. Cinematic experience.
Bro, that shit was a podcast. It was unreal. It was so fun. And like I said, I mean, lack of water throughout the day really fucked me when you're taking 25 drinks for a ride throughout the day. So come Saturday, I was in rough shape. I mean, I was not well. I think I was at the convention for 2 hours, dumped like $40 on parking just to go home. Couldn't do it. But thankfully, I have two beautiful and hardworking co-founders, which put the team on the back door.
You're fucking right.
And took the weekend home. You guys killed that.
Forget it. Don't you fucking forget it.
Weekend was great. Looking forward to next year. Looking forward to this weekend first. So you gotta walk. Gotta walk.
Gotta walk before you can run. Bob, I know you're sick now, and you more than likely got sick from PAX. You get the little PAX pox floating around in your body right now. But how was your weekend?
It was a blast. I mean, I'm not that sick. It's just the cough, like the post-nasal drip cough. That
you just want the recognition to act like it's your flu game. I get it.
I already had the fucking flu this season, and it was horrible. It was my fucking birthday. I spent my fucking 27th birthday in bed with 103 fever, shaking.
You would have done the same thing without the fever, even if you
would have been in bed convulsing anyway.
Exactly. Nothing would have changed. I just wouldn't have had a fever. Yeah, I mean, we say it every single year, but PAX is a fucking gauntlet. Like, I'm glad that people get to go and enjoy like everything that's going on. You know, a day or two is like them. If we weren't going as media, a day or two would be max for me.
Yeah,
I wouldn't go beyond that. But you know, I always go in with my own set of rules of I'm only checking out games I'm interested in. I'm only going to go demo games that I anticipate are going to be good. Games that I will inevitably play when they finally release, and then occasionally review. So I know our buddy Q, who flew in from Scotland, shout out Q, thanks for stopping by, we love you. He asked in the Discord the other day, like, what was the biggest upset at PAX? And like, I can never answer that question when we go, because I always set out to, you know, play games that I think are going to be good. So I demoed a bunch of shit. I was only able to get one fucking interview because the majority of the games I went to go demo, there weren't developers on hand. There were no lead developers for me to mention.
They're all lead developers.
Exactly. But everybody that I was speaking to, it was PR teams. They were like, yeah, this game was made by one developer. He's back in Stockholm right now. He didn't want to come to PAX because of coronavirus. And I was like, okay.
Pussies.
All right. I guess I'll just follow up via email later on, but yeah, I don't know. It was a blast. When we do the rundown, I'll go a little further in depth into the games I played. I think we should 100% say our game of show, because I have 3 contenders right now for game of show. Wow. But yeah, the Acer after party, I had no idea where it was. It was lights on, nobody home for like the last 3 hours.
Yeah, just turning up with the Iron Lords. It was great.
Yeah, it was a fucking blast. I was
so fun.
Trashed. I also saw some really fucked up stuff waiting for my Uber that night, but I guess I could save that at the end.
That's what happens when you're in fucking Boston. You see a bunch of crazy shit when people get on the sauce.
Bob, thanks for the renew. Fuck your comment. So yeah, I mean, I completely agree.
Right, Bob.
I completely agree. You know, PAX was great. It is a gauntlet for sure. I got in there 3 out of the 4 whole days. You know, we probably left Saturday around like 4 o'clock. I left Saturday about 4 o'clock. Last thing I saw was Baldur's Gate 3 gameplay, which was fucking amazing. Again, we'll get more into that once we do the whole recap. Lorenzo, thank you so much for that 18-month tier 1 sub, boy. But yeah, no, PAX was great, man. I mean, Sunday we didn't do anything. We didn't go to the show. Most people are packing up shop anyway, and I mean, Chris didn't even make it till, oh shit, what the fuck is this? Hype train incoming. What was that?
What's a hype train?
Dude, did you see that?
It's because we got X amount of subs within X amount of time frame.
Hey, Rockin', thank you so much for the sub too, brother. Appreciate that.
We got 4 minutes and 40 seconds to continue the hype train.
I don't understand what that means. What do you do?
So it's just other people viewing us. If they want to keep the hype train going, they subscribe.
Oh shit! Let me see if my regular sub is up. where was I? Yeah, so PAX was great. We didn't go on Sunday. I mean, Chris barely made it to noon on Saturday. I know Bob took off a little bit before I did on Saturday. I saw the Baldur's Gate 3 gameplay, and then I dipped out. And then Sunday, was it Sunday or was it Saturday night? Saturday night, had a good little meetup. Me and Bob met up with a whole bunch of folks in the community. Q was there, obviously. Kenny was there. He brought Mrs. Kenny with him, keep him from flying away just in case a stiff breeze, somebody opened the door and God forbid a breeze came through. He would have been lost forever. Flex King was there. Scrap came through. So just a lot of great people in one place. It's always good to see.
And Joey Pepster. Can't forget about Joey Pepster.
And Joe as well. And we, it's always good to get a lot of good people together, and it's great to see that we, we're able to kind of bring these lives together. We did miss some people on Sunday. Muzz and Molly, we're sorry we missed you on Sunday. We wish that we could have been there. We were totally burnt out, but we're so glad that you guys got to connect with some of the other folks there, and I hope you had a great time at PAX. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. PAX East 2020 is officially in the books. For me, I'm just gonna keep talking. So for me, PAX East 2020 was great. Saw a whole lot of stuff. The Baldur's Gate 3 gameplay looked fucking amazing. If you've played any of the Divinity games, you're going to feel right at home. If you had put me in that room and said this was a demo for Divinity 3, I would have believed you. But there's nothing wrong with that. It's running off the Divinity engine, but it's just basically a Dungeons & Dragons coat of paint. And then you have Baldur's Gate 3. So it looks amazing. It looks like it's going to play amazing. The level of customization is crazy. If you've played 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons, it's literally every race, class, background, ability, spell, feat, everything like down to the letter. So if you've made a character in 5th edition D&D, you can make it in Baldur's Gate 3, which is unbelievable. So like Bert and I have played in a couple of 5e campaigns. I already know who my first character is going to be. But like all the classes, races, everything, it's literally just a digital version of Dungeons & Dragons. So can't wait for that. That's going to be a lot of fun. Saw Animal Crossing New Horizons. That was great. I'm really, really excited to see more of it. I played the demo. Like as much as I was in love with the demo and was like, oh my God, this is just great. And at this point we are 15 days away. I wouldn't say like my brain was leaking out of my ears by how amazing it was, because like I knew what I was going to get, but it was just still really charming and really just exciting to know that this is going to be something that's coming back into our lives. I can't wait till everybody gets their hands on it, because it was really, really great.
The booth was mayhem.
The booth was mayhem. The booth was mayhem. Didn't hear any whispers on the winds about any microtransactions. So that might be bad news for one doctor of questionable decree.
For one rectum.
Haven't heard any tell about those. I asked Tom Nook himself. I took some pictures with him. He said that there wasn't any microtransactions. So who can you trust? If you can't trust a raccoon slumlord in 2020, who can you trust? And then last but not least, my game of show. Those are some highlights. Also Ghost Runner is dope. Ghost Runner was fucking amazing. That was probably on like the lower keys. Because Ghost Runner is probably not like a AAA game, but it is still really, really high production value. It's kind of like a Mirror's Edge meets like Super Hot, meets what's like the Miami? What's the game? The Miami
Hotline Miami.
Hotline Miami. Like it's like one shot, one kill. Like you get hit once, you die, but you respawn immediately, and you have to like fix it. It's great. That was awesome. But my game of show was Fuser, from the Harmonix team. Oh. Fuser. So as somebody who has paid an embarrassing amount of money for Rock Band DLC, I'm a big Harmonix guy. I will always support everything that they do. And I was really, really questioning Fuser when I saw it, because it's a festival DJ game, and I can't think of anything I'd be less interested in than going to a music festival. Not crazy about it. But I think the theme and the title is a little misleading, because it's not it's not a simulator where you go and set up a tent and you just smell like shit for 2 weeks. It's actually, so you're a DJ and you have to listen to the responses, the requests from the crowd, and you have 4 turntables. Each one, it's like red, yellow, blue, and green, kind of your iconic rock band shapes or colors. And you have to split up over 100 tracks into vocals, percussion, primary instruments, and secondary instruments to make up mixes. And you can mix them with the press of a button. A, B, X, and Y on the Xbox controller correspond to each to a different button. So you can change things like on the fly, like to the beat. So you can have as much fun with it as you want, or you can just listen to the prompts. But I think the real fun is going to be like finding different mixes that shouldn't work but do work together. So I had one with like Billie Eilish, 50 Cent, Blue Oyster Cult, and Smash Mouth on one turntable. Jesus. And then, yeah, I mean, the mixes in there are crazy. You can bring up to 16 tracks with you to like each set. And then there's over 100 songs in the game at launch. And Harmonix is based in Boston as well. So they're actually known for one thing that I said this in the interview too, and we'll have that on a future episode of the show. But Daniel from Harmonix I asked him, they are really well known for like putting local musicians into the games. So Rock Band had a ton of Harmonix employees, and a lot of like friends and family who had bands that were local to some of the different offices, and featured their music in the game and really helped kind of launch them. Fuser is going to be the same thing. So there's going to be rappers, like rock bands, DJs, whatever. Like there's going to be tons of different modes of getting that music, because there's so many different genres featured. So Fuser is my game of show. I thought it was excellent. The booth was huge. You couldn't miss it. And the next chance you get, if you're listening to this and if you're into music games at all, or if you just like music, check it out. I was catching a vibe real hard. I was like dancing around the booth like that. My headphones almost fell off because I was like bobbing my head so bad as I was like playing it.
Pointing to the crowd, you're like, yeah.
You might
think of this too. So you know how a bunch of people like local musicians and like SoundCloud rappers and whatnot, they go to any extent to try to promote their music? What if this is a turn in current local musicians, smaller local musicians, advertising their music through a video game? So Fuser is the start of that, where people approach Fuser and they're like, hey, I'm a local artist in LA or Boston or New York, whatever. He was like, I would like to advertise in your game. Okay, pay us X amount of dollars and we'll let people have access to your track.
Yeah.
How sick would that be?
I mean, I'm sure record labels are doing that, like saying, hey, we have an up-and-coming artist, like they're going to have this track, like would this be a good fit to like have in your game or whatever? So I wouldn't be surprised.
Dude, their booth was so cool too.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. But yeah, I mean, I cannot wait to play more of that game. That was probably the only game that I played all weekend that I walked out of the booth and I was like, I want to go back in and play it again. Yeah. But yeah, so Chris, what did you play this weekend? What did you think? What was your game of show that you saw?
Yeah, so I'm actually going to put a different spin on this because we all tried pretty much all the same games. So I don't want to beat a dead horse and just talk about the games. Like I could talk about the Avicii game that I played and how great that was and how engulfed I was in that game. But I talked about that on the last one. So I'm going to throw a different spin on it. I'm going to talk about a card game that Dom and I played. And it's going to sound terrible, but I don't necessarily remember the name of it.
Knights of the Hound Table?
Yes, Knights of the Hound Table. So what it was two houses, House Blue and House Red. And there has been a war going on with these armies of dogs for years and years. No one even knows how it started. And the people pitching it behind the desk, which are two unreal guys, buddies from high school, they were like, they have no idea how it started. It could have been like someone stole one of their treats. It could be like the mailman that ruined everything, that really like blew things up and caused mayhem between these two houses. But the dogs, so it's all based off of dogs that are in these like in this battle. But dogs are colorblind. So when they come back after this whole debacle, they can't see color, so they don't know who's on their side. So they're trying to like build their armies up because they don't know what side they're supposed to be on and they can't see the colors. So it reminded me of like a Hearthstone where you have your attack points, you have your defense points and stuff like that. And then you have your like ability card, your defense card, and your attack card. And they're all different types of dogs. There's like a golden retriever. There's multiple pugs. There's like corgis coming. There's a husky, a German shepherd, like a bunch of dogs, and they all have different what's the word I'm looking for? Like different abilities to them, and you build the cards up from there. And my big reason behind it was it being super fun. We demoed it for like 20 minutes. Like there was a bunch of people stopping by, but it's such a different spin on a tabletop game where like who the fuck would ever think like I'm gonna make two colorblind dogs try to like form their armies again after a mailman fucked things up. So you build it from there, and like their passion behind the game was unreal. And it's like it was similar to us. This is what Dom and I were talking about with them. There's like, yeah, we were just buddies in school and we just liked the same thing, which was like tabletop games. And we're like, you know what? Let's start a game. He was like, yeah, we're just two buddies from high school and we just built it out. I live in LA, he lives in Seattle, and they came together to build this game out. And it was super, super fun. It's genuinely, I'm not a big tabletop guy. I played D&D a couple times in my life, but I'm not a big tabletop guy. But I could see myself playing that just because it's so different.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, like I said, the Avicii game was great. I love Doom Eternal, and this isn't just because we're boys with Bethesda. I genuinely like that game. I caught myself on the opening credits where like Bethesda's name popped up on it, and there was like hardcore rock music going in, and my leg was fucking bouncing, and like I was like I had a sweat kick in out of nowhere.
I one touched the beer that was sitting in front of me right there. I was just like, let's get going.
Yeah, I felt like partying. And then today they actually released a video of like the live band doing the soundtrack to the game. I watched the whole like 8 minutes of the video, and it was
fucking awesome. It was fucking. Dude. I watched it at work, dude. I was about to stop punching monitors out at my desk at work.
Dude, it was something else. And like I said at the beginning, like we had two of the Celtics come and play it. And when they got there, they would not speak because they were so into the game, like looking at each other like, dude, like, look at this. And let me tell you something. In Doom Eternal, the amount of glory kills they have in that game, there has to be thousands. Because we watched that throughout the day, give it a couple hours, and like halfway through the party as they were playing it still, I was still seeing new ones. I was like, how many do they have? You can like stomp people out. You could rip their heads off. You could like take their arm off and beat them with it.
Yep.
There had to be billions of them.
Yeah, there was a lot of glory kills in Doom 2016, but you ended up seeing a lot of them same time, which would encourage you to like, what if you killed them from the air? What if you try to get them from the side? What if you try to get them from behind? Or if you were like crouched and you did it. But Doom Eternal had so much variety, and I'm sure that they had a lot of some of the same ones from Doom 2016, so they really built on those animations. And I would love to know like the exact number on how many unique animations there are, because there's so many.
Has to be. Like I said, I kept seeing new ones. Like, granted, I was off the sauce, but I was paying attention for the most part. Like, Dom was starting chants out in the audience. It was phenomenal. But I kept seeing new ones, and then like Marcus Smart was playing on like ultra hard mode, and he was killing it. It looked super difficult and very challenging. As you can tell on this podcast, I'm a huge fan of Animal Crossing, but I can see I'm going to pick up Doom Eternal too on the 20th. I fucking have to. I mean, get you a man that could do both. I'm going to be picking weeds with Tom Nook trying to pay off my mortgage, and then I'm going to be killing motherfuckers in Doom Eternal. Get you a man that could do both.
Bob, highlights and game show.
So I didn't get a chance to play Doom Eternal just because literally every single time I stopped at the Bethesda game day, it was to get 2 beers, eat something real quick, and then run to my next fucking.
First of all, shout out to the food they have there. That was fucking incredible.
Shout out to the lobster mac and cheese that I ate 6 pounds of.
Dude,
that's how you know that you're not cutting corners. You got lobster mac and cheese. I could have swore they had like black truffle too. I don't know. They had a lot of shit going on there.
But so I recently played through Doom 2016 like 2 months ago, and that game it's like the perfect recipe for a first person shooter. And all I know is Doom Eternal is going to follow that and just, continue to build upon what they already had.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to run through what I checked out this weekend real quick. Get to the Orange Door. It's interesting. It's like Super Hot meets Ghost Runner, actually, where there's a lot of wall running, a lot of abilities like sliding, but it's got like the Super Hot aesthetic to it. And you have one main goal: to get to the end of the level where the Orange Door is at. You get a gun, you have enemies chasing you down, and it's just a lot of cool like wall running and shit. There's another game I checked on Thursday, but I'm saving that for last. Let's see, what else? We checked out Magic Legends. That was a fun action RPG. I wasn't a huge fan of like the card system, but the way the game played itself was incredible. Like the visual effects were perfect.
Yeah.
Everything involved with it, in my opinion, outside of the cards just they kind of don't make sense to me. But the whole like ARPG behind it, everything played perfectly, and it looked gorgeous too.
Can I throw one thing in about Magic Legends? Remember what they did for that little girl? That was the most beautiful thing in the world. There was like a little girl that they gave like an honorary media pass because she's a huge fan, and she came right into the back and like sat down, just got right on the mouse and keyboard and ripped it. Her dad was there with her, like super proud. He's like, we just drove like 6 hours. We slept 2 hours last night. We came right here, and it was the most beautiful, cutest thing I've ever seen in the world.
We were about to do our interview for Magic Legends, and we saw like this little girl walked in. I mean, she couldn't have been more than 8, and probably about 2 feet tall, so like maybe about 3 inches taller than me. And so she walked in and she had like a little like Magic the Gathering hat on, and her dad had like a matching hat, and they got her like a stool, and she like stood up on like basically was like on her knees on the stool to like be at eye level with the PC monitor. And we were just like kind of watching what was going down, and one of the guys from Perfect World turns around and he was like, yeah, this is our honorary media member for the day. Like her dad reached out and like told me like how big of a fan she is of Magic, and like how she's like been into it since she was little, and and like how long they traveled, and we're letting her get like a first look at the game, and that's just what it's all about. I mean, and I was saying that to one of the guys there. I was just like, Magic is one of the biggest games in the world, period, full stop, end of sentence. Like Magic will outlive us all basically, and to know that they still really care about like the little guys, literally and figuratively, and like the fans that are just like so passionate about it, and they're not too big to do cool stuff like that, really just gives me a little bit of hope. So, but Bob, continue.
So after Magic, again, I really enjoyed that game. I kind of have more of an understanding to the card system involved. It kind of separates itself from more traditional progression when it comes to like skills and spells. You can change things on the fly with the card system. But the latter half of Friday was all peripheral based. So I threw aside the games, and I went to go check out Element Keyboards with their brand new Whirlwind FX keyboard. They gave me a review code. I'm using it now. It replaced my Corsair K70 Lux, and I'll have a video and a review ideally next week, within the next 2 weeks, of this keyboard. But I'll let you guys know, this is my brand new, this is my go-to keyboard. This keyboard, Whirlwind FX by Element, is incredible. It's currently they only have 2 switches, I think, but they're going to be releasing more. They also have a 60% board coming out later on at the end of the year. So I know we got people in the community that are always interested in 60% keyboards. I'm in contact with them, so whenever I get everything together for a review, I'll let everybody know. But this keyboard is fucking insane, and I'm throwing it out there. If you are in the looks for a new keyboard and you currently want to get one right now that's not 60%, the Element Whirlwind is perfect. If you want to wait, they're going to be releasing a 60%. I also checked out Shit Audio. That is the name of the company, Shit Audio. And what they have is like, if you have not the Turtle Beaches, what are the other like major headset brands?
Astros.
Yeah, if you have like the Astro, and they have like the little amplifier and condenser that that's like directly connected to your headset, it's kind of like that. It's just like a secondary system for your audio input and output and whatnot, and it works really well. Hopefully, we can get a review model for the podcast to see if we're always looking to upgrade the podcast audio and shit like that. So ideally, we can try one out. That was the rest of Friday. Saturday, I got to go to the Tripwire booth. It was like the second biggest booth there outside of the Fuser one. I played Maneater, which you're playing as a shark, and you're trying to get revenge on a shark hunter that killed your mother. That's not spoilers. No, that's within like the first
demo. Yeah.
No, that's like within the first fucking 6 minutes of the demo.
Spoiler alert! Oh my god,
dude, it doesn't fucking matter. But it plays like it visually, and it plays like Sunset Overdrive, which is one of the biggest hidden gems from Xbox One that, it got overlooked for some reason. But that game was incredible. And Maneater, ticks a lot of the boxes that Sunset Overdrive ticks for me. So it was very fun to play. I also got to play Chivalry 2.
Nice.
And in my opinion, it's a better version of Mordhau with an objective.
Nice.
Like, you're dropping into a 64-player map. You're playing as a medieval character. You get these awesome fucking weapons. And like, when you decapitate someone or cut off their arm or something, it feels crunchy. Like, it feels like you just fucking destroyed somebody, and it's awesome. I was explaining to that was one of the teams that had a developer there. I was explaining to them, this is like the perfect community game where you just get your entire community to drop into a fucking map, play for a night, and it's just mayhem and it's chaos. When I was playing it, the very first thing that happened, where you have to take the front gate of a fortress, I'm running up with a giant pole arm, and I see a guy next to me. He starts running ahead of me, and then out of nowhere, his body just ragdolls and goes flying behind me because he took an arrow to the face. And it was fucking sick. And I just looked over my shoulder, and I was like, this is fucking incredible.
Sounds it. I didn't get to play that. It sounds great, though.
It was. I fucking told you to come with me, but you were too banged up from the night before.
True.
I mean, in this world, there's professionals and there's fucking amateurs, and I am the latter on that.
Yeah, I was gonna say you definitely.
Yeah.
So game of show.
I had one more. Well, the Ghost Runner that I played with. That game was actually really fucking fun. I had middling expectations going into it because there's a lot of games like that, but they pulled it off really well. It's a good amalgamation of several. However, my two runner-ups for Game of Show is both Chivalry and Maneater. The Tripwire games, keep an eye out on those games. They're fucking incredible. They're a blast to play. Chivalry is going to be, I think they're both going to be huge hits this year. But my Game of Show goes to one I didn't mention, and it was a behind closed doors demo. They didn't have it on the show floor, and it goes to Pumpkin Jack.
Sick brag right there.
I know. It was fucking, dude, I'm telling you, this game is fucking incredible. Pumpkin Jack, you're playing as the character Pumpkin Jack. You're a scarecrow with a pumpkin head, but it's a 3D action adventure platformer, and it plays just like a Ratchet and Clank or Jack and Dexter game.
Wow.
And those are my favorite fucking series from the PlayStation 2 era, and all I want is for them to come back, and this game is doing that. Everything that you could do in those games, you can do in this game, and it looks gorgeous. It has the new medieval, like, it looks like the medieval remaster, like visually, but it plays so differently. It plays better than that. And it plays like a Ratchet and Clank game. And like, I don't know how many more fucking times I could say it. It's like the spiritual successor to those two franchises that we need in this current day. And I can't, that is my Game of Show, Pumpkin Jack.
Love it.
It is, I can't, not all in games. I got to double check, but it's insane. How great.
Gorgeous. Gorgeous game.
Gorgeous
Bobs.
Gorgeous Bobs. All right, so before we go any further, we're going to slide right over to my interview with Alexander from Owlcat Games for Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. Pathfinder, I know Bob and I are real familiar with Pathfinder. We've been plenty familiar with the being around the tabletop, but Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous is the second major Pathfinder licensed video game following Pathfinder Kingmaker. So I did get a chance, another behind closed doors private demo, not on the show floor, for Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous with Alexander from Owlcat Games. Got a real early look at it, and here is that interview right now. Okay, that was our interview with Alexander from Owlcat Games for Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. Pathfinder was a lot of fun, very, very similar to Divinity in structure. There was another, I think it's Divinity Heroes or something like that. There's a CRPG where like it's a lot of pausing and then playing and then pausing, then playing. It's like pause, select your things. There's kind of a tactical element to it. Really, really early build that I saw. So of course it wasn't without its hiccups, but it does look really promising, and it looks really great for like people who are really into like lore and really people who like to min-max and shit like that. They said that they had an unfair difficulty setting. So they were like, if you really want to like have this game beat the shit out of you, and like it's intended for people who just want to tweak every single setting so that they can try to break the game, like this is the game trying to break you. So I thought that was pretty fucking dope. So I can't wait to see Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous in its full form. It's on Kickstarter still. I believe the Kickstarter ends March 10th or March 11th. So there's still a couple days left on that if people want to back, because there are lots of different bonuses available for people who get in before that ends. So, all right. It seems like every other episode we have another dipshit Fortnite kid who makes a dumb call and then gets banned. Chris, what is going on?
All right. Entering scumbag number one of the scumbag number. There's two scumbags in these next two topics, but let's start with scumbag number one. So Faze Dubs, who's 16 years old, let me say. He was streaming, well, he was playing Fortnite with a couple of his buddies, didn't realize that his buddy was streaming, and as he's playing, out of nowhere, drops the N-bomb out of nowhere in like a very, very bad, I mean, there's no good way to say it, but like literally out of nowhere, just dropped it after dying. And the internet went into a frenzy, as they should, because this should never be happening. So what happened after that was, after the internet kind of did their thing, first I saw of it was on Reddit, and then everywhere else started picking it up. So after it really gained some steam, FaZe Clan put out an official statement saying, FaZe Clan will not tolerate any form of hate speech. It is imperative for us to foster an inclusive environment in this community. Due to his actions, we are suspending Dubs indefinitely from representing FaZe Clan while in professional competition, streaming, or posting on his social channel. We are also requiring Dubs to go through sensitivity training and proactively requiring all FaZe Clan members to go through sensitivity training immediately. So what that says is FaZe Dubs is suspended indefinitely, has to go through the sensitivity training as well as everyone else in FaZe Clan. Dubs cannot represent the clan at all in any capacity as of right now. After that, FaZe Dubs put out his own statement via Twitter saying, I can't even describe how sorry I am. I did not intend to be hurtful in any way, but what I said was still hurtful, insensitive, and wrong. The word shouldn't have been in my vocabulary, and I apologize from the bottom of my heart to everyone I offended by using it. You deserve better. Listen here, you 16-year-old fuck. That word shouldn't be in the vocabulary at all. That's like not acceptable by any means, in any capacity, anywhere, at any time. What really keeps ticking around in my mind is this whole sensitivity training that FaZe Clan has to go through. There shouldn't be any sort of training to know how to not be a shitty person and to not say things that you're not supposed to say. I don't care about the whole age thing. I don't care like what happened to you in your past or where you were raised. That's not okay, and it's not an excuse by any means. I also kind of feel bad for people within FaZe that have to go through this quote unquote sensitivity training because of the fuck up of this kid who, not for nothing, had a bright future in competitive Fortnite. He's unreal. He's one of the best in the competitive scene. So kind of floor open up to you guys. I know there's not really much to say behind it besides it's a huge mess up on his end and there's no excuse for it. Do I think the kid should be canceled for it? Canceled culture. I mean, it hurts me to say anyone should be canceled for a mistake they make because everyone makes mistakes. I get to be some more repercussions behind this besides just going to a sensitivity training and not even cutting the kid from the roster.
Yeah.
So I'll throw it over to Dom. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think this has anything to do with anything about relating to canceling or cancel culture or anything. That has nothing to do with it. It's this kid is a complete fucking shithead, and unfortunately, every time we bring up somebody from FaZe Clan, it's another one being a fucking shithead, because and we said this with the FaZe Jarvis thing, there's no leadership, there's no mentorship, there's no guidance at all. So these kids come in at 14, 15, 16 years old, they already have no accountability, they already have no, like, frame of reference or perspective on life. The kid definitely throws that word around like crazy, and you can already tell that, you can tell just from the replies to the piss poor apology tweet that he put out, that there's people in his mentions like, it's okay bro, shit happens, you owned up to it and that's all that matters, or like, It's all good. At least you learn from it, whatever. Like, and you can bet that these are other like 14, 15, 16-year-old white kids who have the similar amount of zero perspective, zero life experience, and probably zero friends of color who actually would be offended by these remarks. So the kid drops an N-bomb on stream. His buddy's like, bro, I'm streaming dead ass. I'm streaming right now. And he's not like, oh my God, I shouldn't have said that. Why would I say that? And he was like, oh fuck, I got caught. That was the reaction.
Exactly.
That was the reaction. There was no remorse, and it was like, it wasn't, bro, oh my God, what are you saying? That's a terrible word to say. It's, bro, I'm streaming. Don't let them catch you, basically. Yes. And that was it. So, like, there's no accountability, there's no mentorship, and there's no, granted, I don't give a shit how fucking good the kid is. Okay? Like, LeVar Ball's kids are great at basketball, and they still act like divas, and they act like, you know, they still act out because they're teenagers. And they at least have a little bit of like mentorship and structure because they're underneath the limelight 24/7. They're in these professional leagues that actually have structure and guidance and rules. But then you go over to like FaZe where they live in an establishment called the Clout House. Okay, this isn't an Ivy League school or like a fucking boarding school. They live in somewhere called a Clout House. How the fuck do you think these kids are gonna act? There's nobody there to like. I mean, and if there is, fire them and please get somebody new. There's no like senior. There's no senior like leadership that is guiding these kids and saying like, hey, you know, here are like the code of ethics that we have. Here's the rules that we have. You know, here's whatever. And like, you know, if this kid's playing on, I don't give a shit if this kid is playing on like a burner, like Xbox Live gamer tag instead of playing on PC or whatever he normally plays on, and just thinks that it's okay. Clearly he thinks it's okay to drop those words in everyday conversation, and he must do that with his friends, and especially because one of his friends is like, oh shit, I'm streaming, and I'm sure he's done it before. So, like, do I think the kid deserves to be like banned for life? No. I think he does need to go through the sensitivity training. And I disagree with you, Chris, as I don't feel bad for anybody in FaZe that needs to go through this too, because they probably all need it. They probably all did. How many times do you really think that this type of like language or this type of behavior goes on inside that house?
Very often. I mean, Tfue himself has got caught saying it multiple times.
Yeah. So all the time. So these kids think that they're bigger than anything else.
Like when Tfue was in FaZe, he was caught saying it multiple times.
Yeah. These kids think that they're bigger than anything else. And granted, listen, we've said this a billion times, you know, they're young, talented people, and they have a niche that they need to, I mean, granted, ride it till the wheels fall off. I mean, I don't know if we're ever going to see this Fortnite bubble burst, but at the end of the day, like, if they can make a little bit of money and support their families and support their friends, by all means, go for it. But I don't feel bad. I have no remorse, and I do think that I don't think that this kid is sorry. I genuinely do not think that he's sorry. I really hope that he is, and I hope that I'm wrong. I really hope that I'm wrong. I want this kid to learn from this stuff because that shit is not okay. It doesn't matter who's saying it. Like nobody's like above this. And every time this happens, and it feels like it's once a month, we get like a streamer who's caught using a slur in casual conversation or something like that. I just don't know why people can't get it through their thick heads that this is not something that you can just like slap a Band-Aid on. Like, this is a hurtful word that's going to hurt people. And if you have a kid who has no mentorship, no guidance, no accountability, no nothing, this is only going to keep happening. So I think they do all need this sensitivity training. By all means, do it. And I think, you know, whoever's running this like group of, there has to be somebody who's like running like this group of younger kids, like this next generation, this next wave of FaZe Clan members, and they have to take accountability for it as well. I think they have to run this up the chain to whoever the next echelon of leadership is in FaZe, because they need to be held accountable as well.
Yeah. So, like you said, I genuinely don't think he's sorry for what he said. As Beyonce once said, don't tell me you're sorry because you're not, because you know you're only sorry that you got caught. That's exactly what it was. He was not sorry of what he said. He's sorry that he got caught saying it. So I'm not defending this by any means. One thing I want to throw, this is a little bit of a curveball on the whole thing. I feel like if you're this kid's buddy and you know that he has the tendency to throw vocab around that he's not supposed to, things that will hurt him and others around him, as his friend that you obviously play with all the time, I feel like you should give your buddy a heads up that you're live streaming. It's like someone calling you.
Maybe
you put it on.
did.
It's like.
Maybe
Did
you watch the entire fucking stream?
No, I don't have proof of that. But what I'm saying, like, all I can base it off of is the clip that's out there now. I don't know if there was ever a warning at first. It's like someone calling you, and you, it's like you calling someone, and they have you on speaker with a bunch of people around. It's like you got to give that little heads up right there. And like I said, I'm not defending it by any means. I'm just saying, and I don't know if it did happen, but I'm just going off of what I see in the clip that's going around now. Bob, what do you think about the whole thing?
I am fucking exhausted by all of it. I don't understand why it continues. I take it back. I understand why it continues to happen. They're children. They're literal children. Like they have. There's no outside, forces coming in on them saying like, hey, you should. Here's an FYI. Don't do these things. You know what I'm saying? They're going through lives in a fucking spotlight on a main stage for games that are making them a shit ton of money. There's no repercussions for them outside of a slap on the wrist and then a PR apology over Twitter.
Exactly. And they feel invincible. Think about how you would feel, right? If you were 16 years old making millions of dollars playing a video game. You would feel invincible.
My God. When I was 16 years old, I was running fucking suicides at basketball practice because we didn't dive on the fucking ground during practice to pick up a ball.
Yeah.
That's what it was. The problem, what needs to happen is after shit like this happens, they need to get punched in the face. That's it. Get punched in the face. You won't say it again. It's that simple. Just, I'm sick of all of this shit happening. And then it's a PR apology on Twitter. They get a ban for a little bit. They lose a contract, maybe. They get reinstated 6 months later. They go through sensitivity training, get punched in the face, and that's it. Yeah. There you go. Go ahead, stream tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's it. Get a broken nose and you can stream tomorrow.
He's making FaZe a shit ton of money. I mean, whatever. There's like, all right, like go through the motions, act like you're sorry, and then all right, come back, keep making us money.
They shouldn't just have sensitivity training once. They should have it every week.
Quarterly.
They should have a fucking meeting every single week to be like, hey, look, here's a reminder. Don't be a fucking piece of shit.
And if you do, you're gone.
You get punched in the face.
Yeah.
They should have one person. They should pay somebody to be an enforcer on their team. If you fuck up, I'm going to kick your ass. Then you can start. You get a 24-hour ban and you can start streaming after that. There you go.
I mean, I think they would continue to do it if it was just like that. I think you have to take their whole livelihood away.
No fucking way. No way. No, because you know why? It's because this generation is so fucking soft. They never got their ass kicked. I guarantee you none of those kids ever got into a fight in their entire lives. We grew up in a neighborhood where people fought all the fucking time.
Yeah.
You say something stupid like that, you're going to have to fight somebody afterwards. It's that simple. And the fact that they grow up in a generation where it's, oh, if you hit me, I'm going to have my dad sue you. Grow the fuck up. Stop pretending like you're invincible on the internet. It's that simple. Like you aren't. You're going to say something stupid. And if you say something stupid in real life, there's going to be repercussions. Imagine if you said that in the street, on a street somewhere, and someone overheard him and kicked his ass. I'm just so exhausted by it because I'm going to continue to say it. It's just a generation of soft people. Nobody's ever told them no. They've never gotten into a fight. They've never gotten their fucking ass kicked. They've never been punched in the face for doing something stupid. And that's what they need.
Yeah, nobody's ever told them no is probably the biggest thing. It's like I completely agree. All right, who's the other shithead we're going to talk about this week, Chris?
We're gonna talk about shithead, but she's kind of a hot shithead if we're keeping it a band. So CSGO Pro Cheyenne Shea Victorino is facing 116 years in jail for embezzlement and larceny. It comes after finding out that she ran an online business with her ex-partner from 2013 to 2017. And while running the online business, there's a reported 118 people that bought products from that store, but they were never received. So Shea put out a statement that's in Portuguese. I can't read it, so I kind of bobbed around the internet. I kind of translate as much as possible. But pretty much what she wrote on it was, I'm not arrested. I'm not going to be arrested. And her lawyer said that they're going to appeal it and pretty much just claim innocence, that they had no idea what was going on, which is the oldest excuse in the book. I didn't know what was happening. But in Brazil, the maximum prison term that you can get for a single crime is 30 years. So if she does get the max for her embezzlement and larceny, she'll be out of jail in 2050 for embezzlement and larceny.
That's bananas.
So, as a past eBay scammer myself, I'd be sick to my stomach if this happened. I just got banned from PayPal. Like, I will survive. But if I was facing 116 years life to plus some for cheaping a couple people out of the products that they paid for, I would be beside myself. So, open up to you guys. Do you think that this whole appeal is going to go in her way? Like, what is going on? Like, to me, she kind of got off of the CS scene in 2019. She wanted to go after her social influencing career and stuff like that. But this is really taking a hit to that influencer career. If you're getting bopped for cheaping people out of money. Yeah, I mean, Brazil obviously doesn't fuck around when it comes to scammers. So, like, getting a big sentence or, like, screwing people out of their hard-earned money, I get that. It's a lot of years, though, for something like this. I mean,
yeah,
there's a lot of other people out there just getting slapped on the wrist for a lot worse of stuff. And if we're being honest, they probably paid through PayPal, and PayPal gave them all their money back. So everyone's winning. They got their money. They scammed money. Everyone's happy in the world. I think charges have to be dropped. Free Shay. Hashtag free Shay.
I don't know anything about Brazilian law. I am not a doctor. That being said, she should probably at least have to, like, pay back the people that she, like, chipped out and maybe, like, get banned from dealing in e-commerce or something like that. I don't know. I don't, like, again, I don't feel bad. I don't fucking know.
I don't know what to say. Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I guess don't go to jail for 100 years. That maybe seems extreme, but, like, you should probably have to pay the people back who you gypped out of it.
Plus some.
I don't know, Bob. You're a doctor, right? What do you think about this?
Yeah, easy. Settle out of court, pay triple what they spent on expenses, or pay a minimum amount of, like, all those 115 people or however many people got scammed. Give them like $2 to $3 grand each. Drop the case.
I guess scam me then if you're gonna give me triple my money back a year later. Scam me,
dude. I don't know how fucking Brazilian law works. I hardly know how fucking American law works, and I pretend that I know how it works.
I can tell you how American law works. Just don't get caught and nothing happens.
Well,
it didn't work for fucking Faze, whatever his name was.
Wubs.
I mean, he didn't break the law. He's just a dickhead.
He's a fucking asshole.
Dude,
I don't know. If we were in America, I would say it would be easy enough to just settle out of court and just pay every person that was affected by it X amount. Like, there's fucking data breaches that go on every single day across the world. Those companies have to settle and pay off the people that were affected by it. It's like, that's how it works.
Yeah.
So again, I don't know how Brazilian law works. Obviously it's fucking shitty. She's a shitty person for doing it. There is a legitimate possibility that she had no idea. If it was a big enough organization, like a distributor that fucked up on their end, she might have had no idea.
It was two people doing it. She knows. It's like when you get caught with cigarettes for the first time. Like,
there's three of us. Three of us go through a third-party system to deliver our merch. If they fuck something up, we would need to be notified.
Yeah, you got a point. Well, there's obviously not.
I have a fucking point. I always have a fucking point.
Shut up. There's obviously not much more to say to the whole thing. It's a little extreme. She's a shitty person. Can I throw in one sprinkle on top of a third shitty person?
No, she's allegedly a shitty person.
Allegedly,
hasn't gone to court yet. Hasn't gone to court yet. There's a legitimate possibility that it was a fuck up on the distributor's end, and it might not be her fault. But if it is her fault, fuck it. Go to prison. I don't give a fuck. I don't care about your career. I don't give a shit what you did. If you scammed people, you scam people. You got to either pay or you got to go to prison.
All I know is the states, the U.S., better start enforcing laws like this for scammers, because I get calls from my social security numbers from the quote-unquote IRS daily.
Dude,
I'm just sick of that.
Did I tell you the story about how I was at work and they called me and I was like, hey, I'm going to call the, I can't remember. I'm going to call the IRS. I'm going to have them trace this phone call back, and then they are going to arrest you guys for fraud. And they started laughing at me, and they said, what do you think? You're the first person that tried? We're not stationed in America. They can't do that. And I was like, all right, well, I'm fucked. Please stop calling me, though.
Ballsy, please put me on your do not call list.
Well, in that case, please leave me alone. I'm sorry. Have a great day.
I called them out. I was like, I'm going to alert the IRS and tell them you are trying to, this is embezzlement and fraud. And they're like, "Go ahead. You're not the first person. We don't work in America.
We good, fam. We good over here."
Yeah, exactly. And they were like, "We're gonna keep calling you." And I was like, "Sick. I'm sorry. Please stop."
All right, so really quick, and then we can land it all.
You have
third shitty person.
You have 15 seconds.
All right, we'll do it next week then. Just land it.
I mean, do we need to know? Is it somebody else who plays Fortnite?
No, it's news that literally came out today about a dude on Twitch that is also a shitty person.
Who also plays Fortnite?
Does he play Fortnite?
I don't know what the kid plays, but he it's quick. He's in Soar Carl. He shot a loaded gun on stream.
Oh no, that was actually kind of funny.
Yeah, okay. Do you mind if I talk about it really quick?
I mean, what do you want? What else do you want to say? The guy shot a loaded gun.
Yeah, so guy shot a loaded gun and
he shot a loaded gun on stream. It was great.
Got banned from Twitch.
He got banned?
Fucking
yeah, he's banned from everything. His organization dropped him. Twitch banned him.
Dude, free him! Free my man. He didn't do shit.
Free him.
Free him.
Dude, the funniest thing, he was like, "You telling me I ain't got money? You telling me I ain't got money?"
Yeah, I watched the clip. It was hysterical. It was an accident.
So you better get another job, but you actually ain't gonna have no money.
What was his name?
Soar Carl.
Soar, like SORE.
SOAR, which is the name of his organization. Carl, of course, it's like fucking Carl.
You know what's funny? I scrolled through it on Twitter today, and I saw like other people, like other like Twitch streamers, going out of their way to be like, "Hey, if you saw this video and you don't know how a gun works, do not do any of this. This is how a gun works." And they literally walked you through the steps of how to dischamber a bullet in a gun.
Yeah, I watched that too.
Yeah, I think he thought he did it though, because he went and he like cocked it, and the bullet comes out, but there must have still been one in the chamber.
He's a fucking idiot. The guy's an idiot.
I thought the clip was hysterical. I didn't think that this was going free Carl.
Dude,
the poor kid. Dude, his last tweet. So hold on a second. His pinned tweet is him proposing to his, who I assume, fiance. This is his last tweet.
The wedding's off. He can't afford that shit.
And then his last one 8 hours ago, somebody had started a rumor that his fiance split up with him because of the thing. Listen, 3 gunshot salute for Carl, free Carl. Okay, it's a dumb move, but listen, come on. I mean, come on. The guy accidentally Granted, I mean, if the guy accidentally shot himself on stream, that would have been way worse. But he shot a hole in his wall.
And he had dogs in the room. Imagine if you shot a dog, that'd be even worse.
But he's
didn't. Good. I mean, everything's good.
Make him take a gun. Hold on a second. If he was on FaZe Clan, he would have had to just do a gun safety course, and he would have been fine.
Clan sensitivity training.
Yeah, clean your hands with it.
He would have had to do a license to carry. They're gonna have him with a Nerf gun on stream next time.
One thing he kind of blew their spot up though. When he shot the gun, he shot at a little canister of G Fuel, and they said that G Fuel didn't have lead in it, which is a fucking lie apparently, because it does have lead in it.
I hate that joke.
I love it. Let's land the train. All right, I'm gonna go first. Big suck it to anybody who dropped Soar Carl, free Carl. And a big shout out to everybody that we saw in PAX East. Big shout out to Q, darling baby boy Joe, aka Q, aka Quatonic, for coming all the way out from Scotland to see PAX East and also to hang out with us for a little bit. That was very much appreciated, and we love him very much. We really do. And just big shout out to everybody who said what's up at the show. Fiona, Violet, we had, who else was out there? Obviously Flex King, Kyle, we saw him. Scrap,
Regicide, shout out Regicide.
Regicide, Marco, shout out to Regicide. Hold on a second. Shout out to Marco for winning the PAX Pokemon League.
Yep.
Shout out to him. Give him a couple gunshots right there. Oh, man.
Didn't he win some sort of trivia?
Stop.
What?
Oh, no gunshots on stream. No gunshots.
Oh, shit. Wait, I already did. That was literally my 20th gunshot of the episode.
Fuck.
Oh, God.
Fuck. All right. Well, we're moving to Mixer, guys.
Well, we're moving to... Yeah, we'll see you next week on Mixer.
Facebook gaming.
Oh, man. Fuck. Yeah, we'll see you on Caffeine.
Caffeine, yeah. See you on D-Live.
All right, Chris, what do you got?
Obviously, shout out Q. It was awesome meeting him. Flew from Scotland. Unreal. Shout out everyone we saw at the show that Dom already named. Shout out to everyone that subbed tonight. For some reason, JB didn't get his sub announcement, but shout out you, JB. You're a true king. Lorenzo sub, Rockin' sub, Bubba sub. Shout out to all you guys. Truly appreciate it. But Other than that, I got nothing. If you want to shout out next week, leave a 5-star review on the podcast on Apple, and I will read it out. If it's 5 stars, feel free to say whatever you want, as long as it doesn't get us TOS. Hashtag free Sorkal and Shay sup.
Cool. Bob?
Shout out to everybody we ran into at PAX. Shout out to all the people that we met at PAX. All the few developers, all the PR people we met. Shout out to Heads Up Game. That was the creator or the publisher behind Pumpkin Jack.
Yeah.
Q, it was great seeing you, buddy. Love you.
Love
Can't
you.
wait for you to come
Love you
back.
so much.
Shout out to Reg. It was great seeing you. Great meeting you. Local guy.
Yep. Friend of the
We'll see you
program, friend
around.
in real life now. And Pokemon PAX League champion, Marco.
Yep. We ran into a bunch of other people. I got recognized twice by people I never knew.
Wow, podcast life, man, paying off, bro, paying off.
I was gonna say 3 times, but one of them was Q. But that doesn't matter. I got recognized by 2 people I didn't know. I'm basically famous. They must have saw my fucking Counter-Strike clips or something.
Probably thought you were cosplaying
Okay, as what?
the mammoth.
Okay. All right. Shout out to our brothers over at the Iron Lords podcast.
Yeah.
The Kingdom. You guys checked out the podcast last week, I'm assuming. That was probably one of the
It's an
best
all-timer.
podcasts I think we've ever done.
It's an all-timer.
That is way up there. And we got some new shit on the YouTube. New sub Snaldo from Iron Lords.
PD.
We get a comment from Thug Life for one of my Overwatch videos. He's aiming and walling. Too good to be true, especially his movement. He knows how to hide very well. Next time, use slow-mo on his crosshair placement. And you know what? I responded and I said, "You're right. I'll do that more next time."
Wow.
So shout out to Thug Life. Zimmer Tracks again. I'm pretty sure that's just a bot. Lord Kabatsu ILP. And then JB on the World of Horror playthrough. Thank you to the YouTube king, Dr. Bob. If it wasn't for you, I would have never seen this game, nor would I have learned about the word undulating, since your expertise lies in the medical. Oh, let me see. Since your expertise lies in the medical field, could you please use more WGG? Wait, could you please use more? What the fuck does it? Could words
Today's
like
segment,
undulating?
Bob
What
learns
the
how
fuck?
to read.
Wow.
In a
and I
girthy
can't
sentence
read.
for us. No, there's just 2 overlapping sentences. PSWGG stream team put me in coach. So JB, thank you. The word undulating. Chris, I can teach you that one too at our SAT word prep.
Yes, that'd be great.
But yeah, shout out to everybody we saw. Shout out to all the great people at PAX. Shout out to Bethesda. It's always a pleasure stopping by for everything you guys do. Shout out to Acer for the party.
Yeah.
And shout out to Whirlwind FX. I'm going to get us a fucking sponsorship. There's going to be a promo code. There's going to be a WGG promo code. This is a keyboard you guys got to try out. It's fucking... I'm good.
Excellent. And with that, if you're not already subscribed to us, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Overcast, and now Radio.com and iHeartRadio. Big shout out to everybody that we saw at PAX. This has been episode 170 of Not Another Gaming Podcast. We love you so much, and we'll see you next week.